everyone. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have Dave Johnson back. And I think the last time we kind of rescheduled because you weren't feeling so well. So it looks like you're feeling a lot better. And I can see that you're in fall because you have your beautiful brown fall colors on.
Yes, my Mr. Rogers sweater on. Yeah, it's starting to be fall here.
I like it. Yeah, I think Lena was talking about that too, how she was really, really cold. So we're going into spring. So we're starting to heat up and you guys are starting to cool down.
Yep.
So as you know, we do questions from from my post. I have a community post where I post them there and you guys put some questions up. And we're going to go through and answer a lot of those, but wait here and stay here all the way to the end. We have really something special and some really 3 great questions that he is going to remote. I think you're going to truly, truly enjoy. But before we get started, Dave, what's been going on with you? What's been going on with your channel? Yeah, update us.
Oh, there's so much stuff going on with me and my channel. Great, just to cut to the chase here. I recently put up a video of Jen from Jen's World Tarot because we did a healing hypnosis session, and this is sort of a past life regression with a bit of quantum healing in there. And we did this. It came out so well that I'm like, hey, let's put this up on YouTube and let people see it. There is another reader who has given me permission to put hers up. I will be doing that one soon. But these, past life regression, hypnosis healing type stories are just so interesting. They are so life-changing. They really are just next level stuff, next level healing. You and I were talking a little bit about before how you just, there's stuff, real trauma from past lives that is making, sometimes causing problems in this life. So all problems in my physical body, they have gone away largely because of this work. And I, had a problem with my shoulder. Sure enough, I am an Alba Weinman who does this work again on YouTube. She regressed me to the point where I'm like in this boat and I went over the cliff, went over the waterfall, and this is right here where I landed. There were many things going on in that lifetime that I had to sort of look at, take responsibility for, heal from, all that stuff. I'll just tell you, what I find so interesting is that it's not so much good and bad. It's all just experience. I don't want to justify bad behaviors. But one thing that I just find over and over again is that all of us has done bad behaviors. When you really get to the lifetime, it really is about experiencing, perhaps doing something wrong. Right. Judas had his lesson to learn. Right. Yes. And that is such an interesting way of looking at it that, gets you a little bit beyond judgment. And you have to be a little careful here because I don't want anybody to think, well, okay, that's your soul contract. You're supposed to be a starving peasant. Too bad. You're just going to learn so much. You don't want to say that because that's not, we don't understand how these things work. But I'm telling you, these healing hypnosis sessions, I get so much out of them. There are just acres and acres of information. Months and months will go by. I'm still getting so much out of that Native American lifetime that I had where, I pretty much shot the priest, I was just like so mad at what he was doing that I went to the church and boom, blew him away. There's so much that I'm still learning from that life, and it immediately calmed me down. Like, no wonder I am so righteous. Like, no wonder I'm such a righteous guy. Now I can maybe just chill a little bit. And I'll tell you, the priest in that lifetime was my best friend in high school. So characters that are your enemies turn out to be your best friend in a lifetime. They are there to teach you something. And the personality, they're totally the same personality, really like confident and, kind of very charismatic, it's the exact same person in a way. It's funny though that you will find that when you do this kind of work, the same people are around you, they take different roles. Often you'll find that family members just kind of move around, and these souls just kind of got a contract to learn certain things in a lifetime. I just can't say enough about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all getting that huge that idea. Let's get these people through some healing. Start bringing about, even in countries, let's start bringing about everything that happened out front. Let's bring it all forward so we can heal. Even the bad way that United States started off with, slavery, this, that, and the other. Let's bring it all forward and let's heal. And I think we're all starting to feel that responsibility, maybe, that word of responsibility of what our work really is to be done here on this earth. What are we really here for? And it truly is really to be healed. And so I've also wanted to go and do some past life and bring forth the energy and bring it forth and heal. So it's a lot like about what you're doing, that quantum healing. So I feel it. I feel it too. Like it's time to get busy.
Yeah. And there is a shift going on.
Lots, big, huge.
Everybody can feel this shift, and it is intense. If you're getting really triggered and stuff, it is intense. I'm finding that people are like, okay, I'm feeling it. Where's I going to go with my energies? How am I going to manage this? And you'll notice in the political spectrum that certain politicians are really defensive, right? As we're bringing racism forward and saying, here is the story. They're like, no, it's not. No. And they just, that defensive mechanism will show you that it really is being brought up to be dealt with.
I agree.
It's intense.
I agree. I've never heard of a pain leaving my body that wasn't painful.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I fight it too, right? Maybe if there's something going on, I'm like, no.
Yeah. The other interesting thing that we're both doing is working with the ley lines.
Yes.
I'm hoping live, I'm trying to work out a live next week with some, like a sort of panel of guests to talk about that. That's today's task. We'll see if Dave can manage that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Are you doing it with Nancy Jean? Because they have involved me in the ley lines.
Yeah. That's one of the people I'm hoping to set up. There's a few others too, but yeah, that's what I'm looking to do next week. So this is interesting because it's just like out of nowhere. I never heard of ley lines in my life until a couple months ago. And then suddenly every other person was just like, hey, what about the ley lines? And I actually did one of these healing hypnosis sessions. And the woman in the hypnosis said, Dave, they've got a message for you. And it was like, time for the healing, time for the ley lines. You got to do some ley lines. And I'm like, I don't know anything about the ley lines. And they're like, you don't even know anything, just do it. And I'm like, I'm not worthy. And they said, just do it. You don't have to worry about worthiness. It's about willingness.
Yes.
And so something's going on there. We had some really wonderful sessions of raising the vibration a couple of weeks ago. Really powerful stuff where the audience really got to participate. So everything's shifting really quickly. It's if you can look at it from the perspective of it being a fun and interesting and engaging time, that is really helpful.
Yes, I completely agree. All right, so I'm on it. We're there. We're all there. I've agreed to do the work, and so we're going to go forward and do the work. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start on some questions that we have. I know these might be like 3 weeks old, but I'm going to kind of walk through and see if we have any in there. There's one question in there that says, I'm just curious about Julian Assange. Have you heard anything? I mean, have you?
What's interesting is I'll tell you, I live in Australia, and sometimes you'll see posters for him, like get him out of jail. And then somebody will write traitor on it. And then somebody else scratch that out and they'll write something else. So people have very different opinions about Julian Assange. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Julian. It's also interesting because I have very mixed feelings about him too. Um, one thing is, it reminds me is Julian Assange is mentioned in the Mueller report. It says specifically, I wanted Trump to get elected because he would be so bad that people would react and remove him, and then we would move a little bit to the left. He literally said, Hillary Clinton is really too smart. She's going to work the situation. And his opinion was that she's a monster. Now, I think there's a good dash of sexism in there. And I don't, think it's fair that this one person changed the course of history. But when I look at him, he's like, hey, I've shown my power. I took the risks. I showed the power. It's like almost like, again, just as I was talking about, I had my role and someone had to take it. All right, Julian, what's next? What's next for you? Doing something well. So like I see him actually with the basketball making baskets. One. Okay, yeah, he made the first one. Made the second one, made another one. So I'm just going to make, Julian, what are you doing with the baskets? What does that mean? There's some kind of paperwork. I think that he's going to be able to advance his cause of, being a bit more free. There's something like he's showing a scroll, almost like this is my get out of jail card or something. I get more freedom for him. And he's not ready to speak out yet, but he will be in a few years. He will be able to, be more above a regular, like us. He could have his own YouTube channel. All right, Julian, what else? He's starting the baskets again. He's doing really well, and there's an audience. So all of these people are cheering. All right, but tell me more about what that means. Kenny's showing me the scroll, pointing to a few words on the scroll and some kind of somebody's signature. Somebody gives him, I think, like a, what is it? Like a free pass, annulment. Trump gave him to all his creepy people, like a get out of jail free card. What's that called? Do you remember, Sheila? Where Trump has like the ability to like let Michael Flynn be free.
Pardons.
Yeah, presidential pardon. Like, who's going to give you this pardon? It's not really clear who's going to give the pardon. It's almost like maybe not quite a pardon, but maybe the ability to travel. So are you going to be able to go back home? No, you won't go back home, but he will be received in some places. Is he going to get deported? He says no. Yeah, there are some sympathetic governments out there, not only the ones that he has, he's visited a few of them. It's like he's negotiating for some doors to open. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, well, it kind of sounds like when you're talking about him being in basketball, probably prison, they're playing basketball. He's probably networking in prison.
Yeah.
He's in prison, correct? If I'm right, he's in prison, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where Julian Assange is, but you could be right. But yeah, so maybe that is an apt metaphor, right? Because
he's networking from, getting a thing like, oh, I contacted that one. That kind of sound like a. Let's do Justice Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, wow. Hard to dislike a person more.
Right.
Yeah, all right. Let's see what. Okay, he's taking the metaphor of the basketball, but his basketball's flat. It's like, He won't be making any baskets, right? That's the thing that I see. He is like seriously hobbled. Just Roberts is going to be full on limiting him. Roberts is going to be after him and after him and after him. So okay, tell me more about what happens to Clarence. He and Ginny are fighting. He's pissed off at Ginny for like ruining his situation, ruining his opinion. So there is some consequences to their behaviors. They're fighting among each other. They feel the power is slipping away. Essentially, they've lost power by going too far. Ginny is starting to become aware that she could get in a lot of trouble. He is very much aware that she could get in a lot of trouble. He's been trying to convince her for a while to chill, and she won't. So her own, lack of discretion, her own arrogance has got them both in trouble. And Ginny has more to hide. She was even more involved in January 6th than we know. And she's trying to cover that stuff up. He knows about it. He's trying to not know about it. So it's like one of those things where, teacher walks into the bathroom and says, if anybody's smoking in here, then you might want to put out your cigarettes. Shh, you can hear all the cigarettes in the bathroom go out, there's that kind of, he knows, but he doesn't know. So what is he going to do? Man, is he pissed, because he liked exercising his power. His legacy's ruined. Okay, this is interesting. I see a man in chains, but he breaks the chains. So they're going to limit him, but I'm not sure that they're not going to stop him. So he won't be removed as far as I can tell. But let's see what happens next, though. Because it seems like things are going to heat up with Ginny. And she will be a bargaining chip. So she'll be like, hey, we could go for more prosecution with her, or you could just retire. There's a bit of that, not stated, but unconsciously known by them. So he breaks the chains. But again, like he's trying to like make a basket with his hands together and the ball, the deflated ball. It's like he's rendered virtually powerless. Yeah. So what else is going to happen? Is he going to get removed? No, but something else might happen. The stress is causing him a good deal of anxiety, and this is affecting his heart. So I don't know whether his health will last that much longer. That is, I'm not into predicting anybody's passing, and I ask Spirit not to tell me, but I get that he will, in 2.5 to 3 years, he may be compelled to retire because he is not well. I think he's maybe taking some medication for hypertension, because I keep seeing a needle, right? He's already on serious medication, and he's already having a good deal of problems. He's going to push through and keep trying to be this justice, but he won't be able to succeed forever. If the January 6th Commission does its job, that will be giving him some headaches, and it will cause him to retire earlier than he normally would. So yeah.
I think definitely. I think when I go into his energy, the first thing I also get is that he didn't remember when he said no, not to have any of that information go to the January 6th. He was the only one that abstained, right? He's the only one that said no. And every time I go into that energy is that he's too selfish to really protect his wife, but he said no to protect him.
Ah, yeah.
That was just a whole new concept. I'm like, what? Because he did it for himself. It was a selfish and self-centered decision, and it had nothing to do with his wife.
Yeah.
He took that chance, but because it's something that everybody knows that he's gonna know. They're gonna know. They're gonna know. That's why he keeps on saying they're gonna know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so let's move on. Are you willing to do Putin?
Okay, yeah, sure. Just put the
Okay.
put a pyramid above myself to protect myself, right?
Yep. But well, I did a remote on Putin and he put a muzzle on me.
Yeah. Oh, he is a tough one to do.
Yeah.
I have never been so upset looking at a person as him. Like, I gotta stop.
Yeah. Well,
So
I was able to get a lot of information, but it was almost like once he realized I was there, it was really strange interacting. Like once he knew I was there. So
mhm.
all right. This is will Putin be pressured to resign or be forced out based on his actions in Ukraine and beyond? So the truth, really, a lot of information has come up since the third week, 3 weeks ago. But really, truly, um what is Putin supposed to do now?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the minute you said his name, I got, how they have this like sort of hussar guards with their swords out. I got a sword at his throat. Right. So that could mean a whole host of things, one of which is he's just pressured. But it's also his feeling. He feels like a sword's at his throat. Um, he's that worried. There's a lot of people, like an absolute sea of people who he perceives as wanting him dead. Yeah. Um, yeah. But don't be surprised. One of them actually is Russian. Don't believe the hype. There are plenty of people in Russia who want him gone, right? So I'm seeing a sea of people, but some of them are starting to have those, funny fur hats, like 1 in 20. So, and they really want him dead. Like they're not like, well, it'd be better. They really want him dead. These are movers and shaker type people who have vested interests, who want him removed. And there is a very much a feeling like Caesar, like Ides of March, some kind of situation where he is, well, it feels like he's in a hallway and he thinks he is safe, but he doesn't realize what's around the corner. Yeah, so I'm just going to ask. I don't feel like he's going to last long. I'm getting a couple of months. So Spirit, let's ask one more. Is Putin going to go? Well, he's going to go he's not going to go without fighting. Yeah, there's a strange thing. He's doing a lot of Botox and stuff, and he's just lost a lot of respect. Like people, like other soldiers are just like, ew, you're getting Botox, dude, come on, you're Putin. Like, how could you do that? He's no longer, bare chested riding his horse. He's just not that, he's not the same figure anymore. People don't fear him. He looks like a nerdy old man. And that is having a huge, he's getting that Botox just to keep people thinking that he's young and fresh and vigorous. But it's actually ultimately having an opposite effect. Okay, what's that? It's like foggy. I get the feeling that this is just going to come out of nowhere. Like he won't know what hit him. And it's also going to take a look at Ukraine here and see, because they are intricately linked. Man, does he realize his mistake? He's desperate to get out of there with some honor. He's hoping that the Ukrainians will accept just giving him a little sliver, because that way he can claim victory. Zelensky's saying, yeah, what's in it for me? In a political sense, time is on Zelensky's side, not Putin's. He thought he was so powerful. He'd like, I controlled the greatest country in the world and I was so powerful. I had my guy there, but now he's not, but now he's gone. So he really believed that this was like, there was no limit to his power because of the Trump situation. So what's going to happen to you? Yeah, I'm getting them blocked. I'm getting him blocked. I think there's a reason why we can't see exactly how this works, because we don't want to warn him.
No, we don't. We want to give him any information more than that.
Yeah.
But as you were doing that, I threw some cards and I have to show you, which was really weird. Done, threatened, access granted, family members, bloodline.
How do you interpret that?
Well, it's like done. A family member is threatening him, and they have access to him, like that. You're done. So there's a family member somewhere. The final support. There's no more support for him through a bloodline.
Wow. Huh.
I found that interesting when you were talking about somebody is definitely done and want him out and unalived and things like that. That also wondering, I think, is bloodline, through his bloodline.
Yeah, wow. Because it really was like a field of people, and 1 in 20 had that hat. Like as if like 1 in 20 are
people are not supporting him. Yeah.
Patriots, right? They don't want him there.
I think you're right about that. I think that they want us to believe, or Putin wants us to believe, that the Russian people are behind his behavior, but truthfully, they're not. Yeah.
It's propaganda.
Yeah. All right. So what we have, so what we're going to do, I'm going to have a final question. That I have tons of questions about Trump. Okay. Here we go. So as you go in, what they want to know, I mean, we can answer this right here, right now. We can both in unison. Is Trump going to be a president 20 and 24?
Literally, Trump himself bursts into laughter. Like, are you kidding? Why would I do that? Look, it's all a grift. It was always a grift. He didn't want to be president. The only reason he keeps trying to like control things is because he's afraid. He's afraid of January 6th. So he's like literally bursting into laughter. Like, how naive are you that you think I'm actually going to run? Are you crazy? Of course I'm not going to do that. All the money's here. Why would I spend it on a campaign when I can rip you off? I've got $100 million. It's just like saved my life. Why would I spend it? So I'm getting a big fat no on that one. What about you?
Scream it from the top of my lungs. No, he is not going to be there. He's never been there. I've never seen him there. You're like you said, he has no interest in being president again. He has tons of interest in having a whole bunch of rallies until then, so that he can take your money.
Right.
He doesn't have to be accountable for that, and these people just keep it. But his crowd size are diminishing and diminishing and diminishing. It's all going. None of his candidates that he's backing, none of them are getting support or the money. So it's really, and the January 6th commission is really going to take away.
I think they're really heating up.
Yeah, they're really heating up. So
yeah.
I want to do that. So there's another question. Let's go from Trump into the Republicans. I want you to see truly how the Republicans are functioning or not functioning with and without the support of Trump, or with Trump. I mean, what's going on with the Republicans and the relationship they have with Trump?
Well, Lindsey Graham's face just turns really red. Like he just gets like almost like really embarrassed or maybe angry about something. I think Trump is going to do so much damage, right? Lindsey Graham's in a terrible position. He can't not support Trump and he can't support Trump. He cannot do both. So he is there kind of stuck in the middle. And it's kind of like, because he's not supportive enough, then Trump is going to attack Lindsey Graham and Lindsey Graham's going to be on the defensive. So it's almost like, keep in mind, it's almost like the Democrats have a mole on the inside of the Republican Party, a really powerful mole who will just take them in these crazy directions and undermine them. So what's going to happen with the Republican Party? It's split. It is splitting as we speak. There are some people who are going to make a jump. Already, we've seen a little bit of shift where people like Romney are supporting the Democratic woman who is a Ketanji Jackson. He has supported her. So this is Susan Collins. This is starting to represent an important shift in the Republican policy. They're not going to be so united. There are some people who are reading the writing on the wall and they're moving away from the radical right-wing people. I think partially because they can tell they're going to go to jail. You know, there are many people who are implicated. They say now that there are perhaps 300 people who will be indicted, perhaps on terms like seditious conspiracy. And I mean, we're talking like Congress people. So let me just check and make sure that that is accurate. Yep, I'm getting a yep. Nobody's going to want to be Jim Jordan's friend in the next couple of months, right? They're going to put as much distance, you notice he's been quite quiet, as much distance between themselves as him. Also notice that all this stuff is going to happen before the next election. Creepy guy who took the young woman across state lines. Matt Gaetz. I'm not good at names, as you can see during these kind of sessions, but Matt Gaetz, his trial is heating up. There are, literally hundreds of people, important Republicans in different states and legislatures that are going to be in serious trouble. And I mean, we're talking prison time type trouble. This is going to embarrass the Republican Party. I know people are being really patient right now, but this is going to happen. The timing will not be so bad. It will be close enough to the next election that it will send everybody scrambling. If Jim Jordan is indicted, the others are going to have to comment on it. They are in total disarray. Now, we would all like the Democrats to, do more, but at least the Democrats aren't in absolute and total disarray. They have their own mole, right? But let's just see.
If there's one thing that the Democrats are, is they're methodical, conscious, and they know how to get the evidence to support what they're doing. They're not going to make a move and then have it fall through.
Yeah. Tell me more, Spirit. What about the Republican Party? Just full of disarray and surprises. I think we will be surprised at who loses this next election. So I know Susan Collins isn't up for a while, so I think this is symbolic, but I keep seeing her face going like, oh my, right? There are certain people who are just, even Republicans, who are just like, I'm done with the Republican Party. I'm not really going to be a Republican anymore. I am going to start supporting some Democratic efforts in the name of, getting some centrists on my team, because the Republicans are they're just so crazy that they're starting to attack each other. They are pissed off at people like Madison Cawthorn who is there, now he's making, stories up about members of his own party instead of the other one. So now they're like, oh my gosh, party discipline is completely broken down. The people are scrambling. The Republicans are scrambling. I'm kind of checking in to see like, hey, how will the election go? And the dial goes like this back and forth. It's not super clear which way it's going. I think the Republicans will lose. Maybe I'm going to say like, this looks like at least 3%, could be 5 or more percent. And, one political calculus that, they don't make is, they want to get us all amped up, like trouble, 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 trouble. They're not saying, by the way, Republicans are dying right and left of COVID because they won't get the shot.
So a lot of them are not going to vote. They're like, oh, I'm not going to vote. That they've said it out loud. I'm done with that. I'm not going to vote anymore.
Right. So there you go. Yeah. It's going to be pretty hard to motivate people to vote Republican. I mean, some of them are, going to be in front of a judge for seditious conspiracy. And
not only that, that one person in front of a judge for that sedition, they have family members, the fallout and the fallout and the fallout and the fallout of that one person's actions, where everybody knows intimately. We think it's just one person. It's a whole family that's being put up there. Right. Like they've lost their husband, their income, their everything. So it's not just that one person. There is a huge, and like anybody that has died from COVID, it's not that one person has died. The whole family is affected. Mm-hmm. So we got to keep with remembering that it's a bigger deal than just that one person that's sitting in jail right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know we did a little bit on those politics. So I want to go to the last 3 questions that we do have. Okay. That we have here, which I've been excited for. So if you've made it this long, thank you. We have 3 last questions. The first question up is, can you please ask your spirit guides to explain to us, how do we stay focused on the, higher vibration or the love and light, that realm? Through all of this?
This is a really, really good question, because the energy is so strong. The counter energies are also strong. So the energy that makes you want to sit in front of the TV all day and zone out is really pulling you, right? Because there's so much to think about. At the same time, the best thing to do is really just to make a conscious plan. Like when I get up in the morning, I am not going to turn the TV on until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to do these 5 really awesome, loving things before I turn the TV on. And that could be TV or internet, obviously. Definitely spend moments in contemplation. If you can meditate, don't hesitate to meditate. And, I get up in the morning, I just turn on meditation music and I have my coffee and stuff before I meditate. I listen to meditation music. Don't hesitate to do that at certain points. Definitely don't go looking for stories. If something's interesting to you, you can read on that or watch it. But don't go searching, where you're just like, okay, show me another horrible video. That is a strange addiction that has happened modernly. And, also just keep in mind, this is a process. All of us are learning. Okay, we might be learning happy stories. We might be learning sad stories. We might be learning restraint. We might be learning self-control. We might be learning balance. We might be learning you've got your kid self here and your adult self here and make a compromise. Do not underestimate the power of your own learning, and do not think that is unimportant. Your learning, your creating, the kind things that you do for others, the work that you're doing in this lifetime is very important, and it contributes to the whole gestalt of what's happening politically, for example. So never imagine that you are not deeply connected to the universe and that the things that you do don't matter. This is a lot of pressure. Definitely give some fun to your inner child, because we're not supposed to be on this planet only working. Give fun to that inner child if it's necessary. Put that out there, like for 1 hour, I'm going to bake cupcakes. After I, cut my video, I'm going to, give myself a reward here. Those are very effective means of balancing both of those desires. It's really helpful if you go to the community of people who are full of light. Don't engage in arguing or fighting with others. Don't try to prove your point. Maybe you have a family member you disagree with. It's not going to be helpful to try to change their mind. Just do your best to be as loving and kind to them. If you cannot talk to them, don't, right? You're not obliged to solve everybody's problems. The best thing is to be an example and to know that you're being an example and to know you're going to make mistakes. Make mistakes, learn from them, apologize if you need to. Really, I do most want to influence you to say, everyone is important. We are all deeply connected. We reflect each other. If you keep that in mind, it might help you to rise, because you will already be thinking of others. And that always is a rise towards love. Do things that are good for you. Take time. Understand that this process of ascension is going on, and you need time. You need to rest. You need time outdoors. You need quiet time. The one thing you don't need is a constant blaring noise at you with from a million devices. That might be your job. Find a lunch hour where you turn it all off and just listen to the birds sing.
I agree. I think one of the best things that we can tell them is tap into your higher source before you tap into the lower source.
Yeah, it's a great way to say it. Yeah.
All right. So number 2, the second question is, how do we make high vibrating attractive to other people? What will spirit say for us?
Great. That's a great question too. Think back in your life and think of those people who were sort of discreet, not like, hey, look at me, not the Donald Trump people, but the kind of quiet in the background. I always remember this one teacher, and she could calm any classroom. I don't know what the magic one was for her, but she would just come to the front of the class, and it would be, she would just kind of calmly wait for everybody to be quiet. And we always did. I don't know how she did that. Having been a school teacher myself, I don't know how, but notice those people that you admire who, somebody does something wrong and they handle it in a really good way, right? Without insulting them, without yelling at them, they teach them something. So notice those people throughout your life, and then notice when you are like that, because there are times when all of us are discreetly in the background helping another. There are times when all of us are doing the right thing without going, hey, look at me. People notice that. People notice you when you do that. And maybe not everybody notices you when you do that, but really cool people notice you when you do that. And you can see people that you admire, and you can also note that people admire that. I really feel like you can just be an example. You're not going to be able to do this perfectly, but when you meet somebody, they're very unpleasant, you have choices before you, right? Calmly consider them and just be your best self in that situation. And then notice afterwards, that was really cool. What did I do right? How did that work out? How did the person change? How how do other people are now perceiving me? Because such people are very attractive, right? They're not necessarily passive people. They're being peaceful and doing nothing. They're being actively peaceful, actively engaging. It's like an example of, I was on a train once, and this guy who was, it was an underground train, and in San Francisco, and this guy was driving the train. There was a woman who was from his neighborhood, and they were in a screaming fight. And everybody on the train was just totally freaked out. Like, dude, are you watching? Because we're all getting scared. And this woman was so irate. She was so angry. She was so out of control that like nobody knew what to do. We were all frozen. And I'm usually the guy who walks up and does something, but it was not me. This beautiful lady with beautiful long brown hair, she goes up to the train driver and she says, "You're the professional. Rise above it, Anne." And that's all she needed to do. It's just like they both went silent. And the whole train was just like, wow. And I kick myself every day because I saw that woman on the platform the next day. And I had this, I don't know why I didn't walk up and say, "Hey, thank you so much. That was so brave of you. You were so awesome. You totally handled that in the greatest kind of way." She was even looking at me like, "Aren't you going to thank me?" And I don't know what was wrong with me that day. Then I didn't. I am usually that person who thanks them, but I just didn't. So understand that if you're out there and you're doing the right thing, people will notice it, but they might not say that. They might not, for whatever's going on in their own lives, be able to go, "Hey, that was really a great thing that you did yesterday." But they will notice it. People, your coworkers will notice it. A universe will notice it. And very important, you will notice these changes in yourself. You can't always vibrate high. Things are going to happen which are going to make you sad and angry and all that stuff. Those are just, things that happen. Maybe one day you won't do so well. Next day you'll do better. One day you'll do really, really well. And just notice your own progress there. Because that really is what it's about as a human. Notice your own progress.
Exactly. So how do we make it attractive to others? Is that we have to heal from within. People notice healing. People notice peacefulness. They notice mindfulness. They notice purposely living. And that's one thing that, make it attractive. It's like that attraction rather than promotion is what I always live by. I don't want to promote myself. I'd rather have it, attracted in. That goes with everything in life. Like money, friends, whatever. Attraction rather than promotion.
I encourage you to think of your favorite teacher. And when you think of your favorite teacher, whoever that is, it's never the easy teacher. It's actually the teacher that challenged you the most and the teacher that probably had relatively strict rules and high expectations. And that could just be a teacher in life or your real school teacher. But notice, the kids loved that person for a reason. You like that person and admire them for a reason.
Yeah, anybody in your life that you've admired and find out, just find out what they have done to get to that point where there was something that you wanted from, like, "Oh, I want to be like that." Yeah, exactly. Right. All right. So the final question here is, when we send love and light to like Ukraine, what does it do really? What does spirit want us? The direct message directly from spirit, not from human, thinking, not from human message, but from directly from spirit. What is it exactly that we are tapping into, and what is it really doing to Ukraine when we send love and light and healing?
I really feel like, well, here's the image that I get. Here's a person with this little stream of light. It's maybe a little hard to see because it's this, one single stream of light going from the earth up into the sky. But it's still important. but I feel like a bunch of people, bunch of streams of light, all of them connecting at some point in space. And as they connect in space, it feels like it's reflected back and almost directed in a certain particular way. This is really just a metaphor, but your light does matter. It combines with a whole body of light. And you can just sit there and like really imagine Ukraine and just think of light and send it there. You can really do that. And I think one thing that's important to notice is that we are powerful, that we can do that. That's the most important thing that we could learn from Ukraine, is that we can transform it. Now, you said sort of what's universe actually doing? I see it's like almost like a flashing neon sign. Yeah, it's like that. It's like the universe, when you're praying or hoping or sending love to someone, it's like the universe gets it, and it's like a neon sign is flashing to certain people in Ukraine, for example, like love, 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 or help, 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 or you know, I really truly feel it's not just the Ukrainians we need to send love to. It's those Russian soldiers. They didn't have a choice and they don't want to be there. And it's possible to change their minds, right? Not all of them, but some of them are so appalled by what's going on that they are preventing women from being raped. They really are like, look, you can't do this. Here's, vulnerable people. And there really are some people there who are like, I've had it. I'm not tolerating you burning down these houses.
What you're saying, kind of getting off track a little.
Sure.
So bring you back.
Okay.
So what you're saying is all of that love and light is also being a beacon to those who are wanting it or needing it as well.
Almost like reflected. It's almost being reflected back. Yeah, like imagine, those lights, and then just like you reflect that light back to them. When it's reflected, it's more general. It's not a perfect beam, but it's just sort of almost like reflected, like those people could pick it up.
So what you're saying is that all of our lights are being collected, and one light is just as important as three lights. And when we get to that, the power is when we combine that. And when we direct that to another place, like we're directing it to Ukraine, those there who are also seeking the light will see it brighter.
And even those there who are not necessarily seeking the light, some of them are affected. It's just like, here's the general light, and here's all of the soldiers. And then some of them are getting to the point of just like, this is sickening what we're doing, and this is wrong. And innocence. They're neither seekers nor not seekers. They are innocents. But as these things are being revealed to them, it is starting to occur to them like, hey, that Ukrainian looks like my sister. Then there's the way that their sergeant treats them, which they don't like. And it's just starting to wear upon them. I think that we are completely underestimating the soldiers themselves, who are like American people in Vietnam. They got there and it's like, what am I doing here? And
I know there was a mass majority of them, but we do have a city or two that they just went in, and so we don't know. I'm still like waiting and talking to spirit about that situation, because I have questions like, what made these people different? What made that city different? Why is it that one, one, it was more powerful? Did they have the worst of the worst generals walking into those cities, or what? I don't know. I have to do a little bit of remote viewing myself to figure out what exactly happened. So there's a lot of that. All right. So thank you, Dave.
My
I
pleasure.
really appreciate all of your wise words. And if anybody, like I said, if anybody's made it this far, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next one. Dave, do you have any last words for everyone?
Just love to all y'all, right? Give yourself a break today. Don't be too tough on yourself today. Changing times, distressing times. Be kind to yourself and
Yes,
others.
absolutely. Good words to live by. All right, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.